wanted to follow up on your discussion with my landlocked colleague, Mr. Banks, about climate change, and I want to talk about the impact that climate change has on readiness, operations, infrastructure, our forces and their families. Naval Station Norfolk is the largest naval installation in the world and is located in a city that has the highest rate of sea level rise on the East Coast. Recent projections show that it will face one major flood a year and a minor flood every week. Meanwhile, we are seeing record-setting heat waves in the Pacific Northwest. Can you discuss how sea level rise, recurring floods, more frequent and destructive hurricanes, record-setting heat waves, discuss the impact that they all have and will continue to have on readiness, operations, our naval infrastructure, our service members, and their families?
Yes, ma'am. Well, first and foremost, climate installation readiness is combat readiness. If we can't deploy if we can't house our ships safely in ports and deploy them safely, then we have a bigger problem, right? And so making the investments in order to mitigate the negative effects of climate change are extremely important in all our ports across the entire United States. And we're seeing the dramatic challenges that brings. And so greater investments in moving the utilities to the right places so that they're not negatively impacted by the rising sea levels is incredibly important. How you construct the piers themselves, for example, and where you put the utilities on those piers is extremely important. And so, again, installation readiness is combat readiness. In fact, CNO can comment more so on the operational side as well.
Yeah, I think, one of the things, that we look for as we're designing our new platforms is making sure from an operational readiness perspective that they, have the ability to operate wherever they need to be able to operate. And so, again, having the right facilities where we can pull them in is critically important.
And corrosion has an impact on metal and an impact on ships and ship readiness as well. And record-setting heat waves have an effect on our sailors and our corpsmen, correct? And their ability to do their job and the health and their readiness?
Very much so, Congresswoman. It's had an impact on unaccompanied housing as well, too. Look, we for decades have made, the Congress has made really impressive investments in family housing, but we haven't invested in unaccompanied housing to the extent that we should. We're correcting that now. We're doing that moving forward, and I think our sailors and our Marines appreciate that given the high retention rates that we've seen in the Navy and Marine Corps. But it's still a huge challenge in areas of high humidity. So whether it's Key West, whether it's Parris Island, other places like that, San Diego as well too, these are the places we have to pay even more attention to, quite frankly, to be able to get them up to the standards where they could resist the humidity.
And to put a finer point on that, increased temperatures and increased flooding and increased moisture leads to increased mold.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now I want to focus on the readiness of the Navy for a possible conflict in the Indo-Pacific region and discuss our overseas repair capability. My staff recently traveled to Japan to meet with security partners there who expressed concerns that shipbuilding and repair capabilities are located almost exclusively in the United States, and that in case of a war or a conflict, this would severely restrain our combat capability if we have to send ships all the way back to Hawaii or San Diego for repairs. What is your assessment of this risk, and what are the department and the administration doing to ensure robust repair capabilities are available in the Pacific should a conflict break out?
Well, thank you, Congressman, for that question. And it is indeed a combat-related question. I mean, if we find ourselves in conflict and we suffer damage, which is inevitable, we will be able to have to send those ships back to the closest depot necessary to be able to repair those ships. So what we're asking of the Congress this year, basically, is to authorize us up to 6 continuous maintenance availabilities of less than 90 days, so that we can then now go and assess which foreign shipyards will be able to do this work effectively during times of peace. I hope we never have to go to war, but if we should have to go to war, we will then have full knowledge of which shipyards and what countries we could actually send these ships to be able to do the damage repair that's going to be necessary.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I yield back.